If any man among you seems to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise, Saint Paul said. I am Valery Fadeev, and this is my series Transforming Humanism on Overcoming the Global Political and Cultural Crisis. So the centuries-long cycle of the European socio-cultural system has come to its end. We strive to show that the end of the cycle is accompanied by a profound crisis. What is next? What are futurists, these self-appointed modern prophets, are saying? TikTok and other such trash has become the key trend that determines today's life, and everyone now needs to conform to these current trends. If enlightenment thinkers had known their efforts would result in TikTok, they would have committed mass suicide. A world order based on money, per Jacques Attali, is the highest form of humanities life organization. This is the kind of organization that makes it possible to achieve complete uniformity in the world, that will eliminate differences between peoples, that will install a uniform society and a single governing body, the global government. What I am saying is not a conspiracy theory, it is the gist of the works of Jacques Attali, who, as I'd like to remind you, served as an advisor to many French presidents. He is a very influential person. Money is now the measure of all things, and the human being is no longer a divine creation, but merely an appendage of their credit card. Distance education has become very widespread recently. I see no problem when it is used to teach cooking courses or something like that, but there is now talk of possibly switching into the largely distance format the entire education system, at least secondary education, and maybe even some sectors of higher education as well. Now only the elect will receive a full-fledged education, communicate with their professors and with other students. We will receive their education live with live communication, yet it is only in live communication that a human being can develop as a person, as a leader. But progressivists ask, why do we need so many leaders? Maybe we do not need that many leaders, but we need people with full-fledged, well-rounded personalities. The purpose of education, one of its purposes, is to foster such people. That has been the case for centuries and millennia. Now education is losing one of its principal functions, and that function is fostering well-rounded human beings with full-fledged personalities. An amazing move has been conceived. Now, instead of uplifting human beings, education will depreciate them. Future humanity is believed to stratify inevitably into the upper caste of about 10% and the lower caste of the remaining 90%. The upper caste will be wealthy, educated, they will enjoy literature, works of art, they will listen to symphonic music. The lower caste will be poor, and it will be immersed in TikTok. If they do not have enough money to buy food, their universal basic income will be increased, or something else will be invented so that poor people could continue to be consumers. A frightening picture, and we are talking about our children and grandchildren. Does it mean they essentially have no future? The idea of control has essentially no rational foundation, yet it begins to dominate the minds of bureaucrats. This is a very dangerous trend. Billions of people log onto social networks daily, no harm done if they interact with other people or look for entertainment, but they also find information, and some of it simply false, while some has been censored by being filtered through algorithms set by own owners of IT companies. These algorithms are hidden from the public, they are secret. Online society splinters into a myriad of small groups. These groups are closed off and virtually never interact with each other. This fact has a special name, it is called echo chambers. These interactions of people locked in their own cells greatly impoverish the world. People locked in their cells no longer know and understand things that transpire beyond those so-called echo chambers. The world seems to them to be much simpler than it really is. Transhumanism promotes one fashionable image of the future. Followers of transhumanism believe that technologies will open up many possibilities of improving the human being, starting with artificial organs to splicing the human brain with a supercomputer to achieving immortality. Universal basic income is seen as a mandatory attribute of the future. This is money paid out to any person, regardless of whether they work or not. Initially, it appears to be an appealing idea that is particularly good for those who do not earn much, whose salary is not that great. But several years ago, Switzerland held a referendum, and the universal basic income was voted down by an overwhelming majority. The main argument is that it will entail higher taxes. I think there is another more important thing involved here. The universal basic income concept is a product of hopelessness, of recognizing that there are fewer and fewer interesting jobs to be offered, not enough for a large number of people. And this universal basic income is suggested as a means of supplementing population's falling incomes. Why? So that population would continue to buy, preferably to buy more and more. This is not about providing social aid to people. This is a proposition from big businesses that want to receive increasingly higher profits amid worsening social conditions. But where do we find the money to fund the universal basic income? The answer is simple: let's print it. The Western world, particularly the US, has long existed at this stage of their economic development. I stress that this particularly applies to the US, that prints money without any restrictions. If the universal basic income is introduced, it most likely will be funded by plain old money issuance.
То, что нам пытаются навязать.
We think that people attempt to foist on us, isn't it straightforward tyranny? And the Grand Inquisitor from Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov is looming large here. The Grand Inquisitor chapter is one of the greatest texts in world literature. This is a fantasy of one Karamazov brother, Ivan. Jesus Christ comes again down to earth in the sweltering Spanish city of Seville, and people know it is him immediately. They throng to him and follow him. He walks among them with a quiet smile of endless compassion. The Grand Inquisitor sees Christ and recognizes him at once. He orders his guards to arrest him. At night, the Grand Inquisitor comes to his prison cell and addresses a long monologue to Christ. You wanted to make people free, the Grand Inquisitor tells Christ. You taught them to make a free choice in the knowledge of good and evil, but could freedom make a person happy? And if for the sake of the bread of heaven thousands shall follow thee, what is to become of the millions and tens of thousands of millions of creatures who will not have the strength to forgo the earthly bread for the sake of the heavenly? No science will give them bread so long as they remain free. In the end, they will lay their freedom at our feet and say to us, "Make us your slaves, but feed us." We will be convinced, too, that they can never be free, for they are weak, vicious, worthless, and rebellious. They have corrected thy work and have founded it upon miracle, mystery, and authority. And men rejoiced that they were again led like sheep, and that the terrible gift that had brought them such suffering was at last lifted from their heads. But it took rejecting Christ. The Grand Inquisitor says they are no longer with Christ, they are with Satan, and now he continues, with us all will be happy and will no more rebel nor destroy one another as under thy freedom, or we shall persuade them that they will only become free when they renounce their freedom to us and submit to us.
Этот текст Достоевского — гениальное предупреждение, и в нем нет обреченности, скорее наоборот.
Dostoevsky's text is pure genius, a warning, but it does not sound desperate. On the contrary, it is a paean to freedom. That's why Alyosha Karamazov exclaims after Ivan has finished his poem, "Your poem is in praise of Jesus, not in blame of him." Many philosophers of different ages dreamed of a united humankind that would banish strife, wars, endless casualties. In Russia, Fyodor Dostoevsky dreamed of the unitotality of humankind. He meant arriving at unity via spirit, via belief in the supreme destiny of humanity. Dostoevsky dreamed of universal human brotherhood.